What would you do if stepping into the unknown was the only way to get where you wanted to go? Would you risk it? I've walked this path, launching businesses, taking risks, and failing more times than I care to admit. But I've learned that self-employment isn't just about courage, it's about preparation, persistence, and learning to fail forward to keep moving. Today, we'll explore Minecraft's Nether to uncover the lessons that the Nether can teach about surviving and thriving in self-employment. It's avoiding danger, equipping with the right tools, and transforming how you see risk forever. But the first time you went into the Nether, you probably had an iron sword and a full set of iron armor, thinking to yourself, I'm good to go. Then you stepped through the portal and realized pretty much instantly you were way out of your depth. That's exactly what starting out on your own feels like. A world of darkness, danger, and unknown mobs everywhere. You see treasures just out of reach, but getting to them is a completely different story. And so it was for me on my first solo enterprise. Now, as the project lead, I worked on cutting-edge 3D CAD software with my team at a time when 2D was still dominating. The choice to go to 3D was pretty revolutionary. It cut errors, though, and saved time in manufacturing. But one of the massive pain points that stood out was designing common components like bolts, and bearings, straps, and fasteners from scratch for every project was a huge time sink. 2D CAD libraries existed at the time for all of these items to save them time, but nothing like that existed for 3D yet. So, when my project wrapped up, I thought I'd found the perfect idea to strike out on my own. This was my opportunity. So, I jumped into self-employment with both feet, ready to change the world. I enrolled in sales courses, entrepreneurship courses, and I joined a networking group. And I cold called local businesses with a pitch to convert their 2D product drawings into 3D libraries. It seemed like a no-brainer. Who wouldn't want this service? Of course, at that time I was a young, indestructible idiot who didn't give a second thought to risks because I was so sure I had the solution the CAD world needed. But on the sales calls, the reality hit hard, though being indestructible took a long time to sink in. But not only was the world not ready for 3D libraries, but the decision makers didn't even understand the problem I was trying to solve. They were too far removed from the CAD process, so the gold and the nether quartz stayed well out of reach. And worse, I didn't even realize it, but I was competing with multi-million-dollar campaigns by Autodesk and Dassault Systems. They had resources to dominate the market, and I was outmatched way before I even started. Looking back, the biggest lesson I learned is that going into the Nether of business requires more than a great idea. Preparation matters. You need to deeply understand your market and know what pain points the decision makers care about. Even if you've solved a big problem for users, the people holding the purse strings might not even see it. And don't forget the competition. They could be way tougher than you think. So, plan your path, secure the resources you need, and then step into the portal. That's why, on this trip into the Nether, I'm gearing up ahead of time. So what about you? Have you ever rushed into something without the tools and the plan you needed? Share your story in the comments, and let's learn from each other. And don't go anywhere, because next I'll share what happens when you let hype take over even when you come prepared. After my first venture failed, I still believed that self-employment was my path to freedom. But this time, I didn't go it alone. I teamed up with two seasoned businessmen, Bill, a mentor and a marketing expert who I'd worked with on web projects, and Harry, a highly connected extrovert with access to significant potential funding. They offset my weaknesses in sales and networking, and together we launched a bleeding-edge voice-over IP business. Our plan seemed airtight. We identified a product, a VoIP solution manufactured in Korea. We acquired 30 units to showcase to investors. The technology was cutting edge, so had a few expected reliability issues. Didn't think that much of it. But I did spend countless hours working with the manufacturer to improve the usability and reliability. Meanwhile, Bill and Harry worked tirelessly to drum up interest and secure funding. It felt like we were on the cusp of something huge. But here's the thing about bleeding-edge technology. It really works against and for you. We knew the product wasn't perfect, but we really underestimated just how much reliability mattered to our potential customers. Frequent call drops, frozen video, and audio glitches were deal breakers, and investors started walking away. But the real red flag came when we found ourselves pitching to a big box electronics retailer after all the major players had lost interest. There, sitting in the meeting, listening to their ask for a share in the take before offering anything to us, it hit me. It's actually, the hype is all we ever had. Now, behind the scenes, the giants of telecom, you know the names, they weren't sitting idle. No, they were quietly building infrastructure to pivot into the VoIP space themselves. And even before we realized it, it was game over. We didn't have the funding or the market presence to compete, and the hype led us into a battle we simply couldn't win. Here's what I learned. In industries dominated by established giants, disruption requires more than just a good idea. It demands timing, deep pockets, and an ironclad understanding of the market dynamics. If you don't have those, the hype can blind you to the realities of your competition. If I could go back, I'd ask, who are the big players and what are the pain points we could solve for them? Which of them is best equipped to handle the disruption? Now, if your idea doesn't offer a strategy they can leverage, or if you're not prepared to fight a long, expensive battle, it's better to walk away. Use your big brain to find a new idea that serves an underserved market instead. Now, trading with the villagers, it feels a bit like working with business partners. You bring your resources to the table, like your iron and your emeralds, whatever you've got, and they can provide tools or the leverage you need. But in business, that may not be enough. You have to approach every decision with knowledge and strategy, or you'll come away empty-handed. Now, have you ever been swept up in the hype of a new idea, only to realize it wasn't what you expected? Share your story in the comments. Love to hear about it. And stick around. If you thought the VoIP was tough, my most epic tale of self-employment and the lessons from the venture that took almost everything is next. Now, once you're in the Nether, of course, opportunities abound. One of those, of course, is the piglin trade. They'll give you valuable resources and even rare items to help you along the way. Now, in business, you'll meet plenty of people who offer incredible value to your plans. Embrace the offers, but don't let their promises fool you into thinking they're like the villagers you've seen before. My next serious self-employment plan centered around buying an existing business, and I found it, a failing metal spinning shop. It felt like the perfect opportunity. Instead of carving out a brand new market, I'd inherit a Rolodex of proven customers. The owner was looking for a partner to take on the operations of the shop. It was my dream opportunity. And oh, it was a beautiful disaster. The machines were in disrepair, the shop like a tornado aftermath. Most employees had already walked away, but there were customers. And though many had moved on, some stayed and had parts to make and orders to fill. All the shop needed was a complete overhaul. It was easy. Refurbish the machines, clean up, implement some safety measures, and roll out some lean manufacturing ideas. For the price of admission, it was all mine to make real. My partner would handle the sales, taking the improved capability of our shop back out to the market. So, blinded by the opportunity, I brushed off his comment in our first meeting about bending the rules, a glaring red flag I should have caught. So, I dove in, and man, we made it clean. We made it safe. We made it efficient. I hired a new welder and a machinist, and had the only other remaining employee take care of the metal spinning and help with sales. We had a few jobs, and one we did was quite stellar. A 5-day production run normally, before I had joined. We got all the work done in one day, and when we delivered to the customer early, I felt invincible. But the success was a bit fleeting. While I was pouring my soul into rebuilding and serving the customers, the other side of the business was crumbling. My partner failed to deliver any meaningful sales aside from one contract we weren't even equipped to handle. My sleepless nights turned into sobbing breakdowns as I clung to my dog for comfort. That comment about bending the rules turned out to mean breaking the law, and something I couldn't ignore anymore. Eventually the situation had escalated, and my partner wanted to set up a grow-up in the storage mezzanine. Then I discovered his gang ties, connections that had landed him in the hospital. He started asking for cash outs the business couldn't afford, and I realized I had no choice. It was time to take decisive action. And walking away meant letting go of everything I'd worked for. My employees, my money, my time. The dream turned nightmare because I partnered with a piglin, not a villager. And letting my employees go was agonizing. They'd poured as much energy into rebuilding as I had. I felt like I'd really let them down. But I couldn't risk everything I owned and who I am to stay tied to someone so toxic. Walking away saved me. It was one of the most painful decisions of my life. Here's the biggest lesson I learned. If you choose a partner, choose carefully. It's no less important than who you marry. Shared values are the foundation of any partnership, and without the aligned beliefs, you'll never achieve the shared goals. And without those goals shared, even the best business ideas will fail. In the Nether, piglins are eager to trade, but don't bank your house on their good word. Vet your associations, get their references, and ask the hard questions to uncover their motives and their values. If something feels off, walk away. No deal is worth risking your self-respect and integrity. Have you ever been led astray by your own excitement and someone else's questionable motives? Tell me how that went in the comments below. Alright, now the history lessons are over. Stay tuned, and we'll take you to the future and show you how to apply what these stories have taught you while I apply them to my current journey.
Flames arise from the ground and hiss, ghastly whispers trail behind, stars of fire in the sky confined, running fast through endless dark, footsteps echo on this fiery arc, blazing trails where the brave embark, shadow world leaves its mark. Souls and slows the daring race, lava rivers in a glowing maze, zombie pigmen start the chase in the Nether's furious embrace. fears caught in fright. Glowstone lights this endless fight. Through obsidian gates we take flight. Running fast through endless dark. Footsteps echo on this fiery arc. Blazing trails where the brave embark. Shadow world leaves its mark.
Here I am again, embarking on a new self-employment journey with YouTube. Why? With all the failures I've shared, and the many more that I haven't shared, would I do such a thing? Well, it's actually about sharing the stories, connecting with others who feel a bit lost, and giving you the knowledge to avoid my mistakes, so that whatever you do, you have a better chance of success. I started this journey because of my love for Minecraft and its boundless creativity. It began as a way to record gameplay with my family and share it with our server. But after losing my job, the idea of turning my passion into a livelihood became more than just a passing thought. It became my lifeline. My past attempts at self-employment taught me that meaning in the work has everything. When I launched my first CAD business, it wasn't about the money, it was about improving the world through technology. But over the years, I've learned that trying to save the world often leads to unintended consequences. Instead, I've found purpose in helping individuals, one person at a time. It's those small, meaningful impacts that ripple outward to create real change. So, why YouTube? After years of struggling to find meaning in traditional jobs, this platform lets me tell my story. It allows me to say, hey, it's actually okay to fail. It's okay to feel like you're not enough. Just keep going. And to be honest, sharing my failures with you was intended to be my chance to thumb my nose at past employers and vent after my burnout. But I learned, and I healed along the way, so it has become about inspiring you to take your next step, even if you've failed, even if you doubt yourself, even if it's mortally terrifying. You have it in you to take the next step, and the next after that. It's how I found this why. If you've been thinking about your why while I've been talking, write it down now, or drop it in the comments. I'd love to see what keeps you going in the grind, and the other viewers may be inspired by your purpose. Also, persistence is everything. In the Nether, you might fail over and over again, but each time you go back better equipped, stronger, smarter, and more prepared. It's no different in self-employment or any other dream you're chasing. I'll admit that starting this YouTube journey hasn't been easy. The competition is fierce, Minecraft is a crowded space on YouTube, and I've had to accept that building an audience is going to take a long time. But every video I make, every idea I try, it's another step forward. Our why is what keeps us going. It's what guides you through the hardest days when the mobs are closing in and it feels like you'll never find your treasure. My why has shifted over time. It's evolved as I've grown, and that's okay. Your why doesn't have to be set in stone either. It just has to be strong enough to get you through today. Now, our journey into the Nether isn't over yet. In the sum up, I'll share the most valuable lesson I've learned from my failures and how I'm applying them to build something meaningful right now. Stick around, you won't want to miss this. Here we are, at the end of this journey into the Nether and the close of this Career Choices series. It's been a long road filled with failures, lessons, and moments of clarity. And along the way, one thing has become crystal clear to me. We all have a why. Sometimes we're afraid to live up to it. Sometimes we don't know how to serve it. And sometimes it's buried so deep in a sea of noise that we can't even hear it calling to us. But taking time to clear that noise to own your fears, and to learn the new things that make it possible to serve your why. That's a path to self-actualization. It's worth every drop of blood shed, every tear cried, and every headache and heartache suffered along the way. Not everyone needs to be self-employed to be self-actualized. That's just the path I've been on. But I hope that the stories and the perspectives I've shared here have given you a new light to see your challenges and a fresh lens to apply the lessons in your life. So let me leave you with this. Risk is the only path forward. But it doesn't have to be reckless. Don't be like me when I was a young indestructible idiot, jumping headfirst without a plan. Take risks, yes. Take informed risks. Use what you've learned. Prepare thoroughly. And step into the unknown with the confidence that even if you fail, you'll live to tell the tale, and you'll come back stronger. Now, as for the future of this channel, I'm still figuring it out. This series ends here, and I have a few fun ideas under my cap, but I want to hear from you. What stories, lessons, or Minecraft adventures would you like to see next? Maybe you'd like to share your own experiences with risk and reward in the comments, or maybe there's something you've been struggling with that we can tackle together. Heck, I'd love to tell your stories in the land of confusion if you're willing to share them with me, and the world. Names changed to protect the innocent, of course. Let me know in the comments if you want to reach out. Now, this journey has been deeply personal, but I think that's why it worked. I started out feeling broken, angry and defeated after losing my job, and now I feel unbroken. I'm ready to take on whatever comes next, whether it's a new video series or even a crappy day job to make ends meet while I build the channel. So let me ask you once more, what's your why? What's the one thing that gets you out of bed, keeps you grinding, even when it's hard? Drop it in the comments. The world is listening. And if you're stuck on your why, here's my suggestion. Don't be afraid about what you learn about yourself. Sometimes your dreams are so big, the how feels impossible. But don't let that stop you. And when you can't find the answer in your own head, shift your focus upward. Ask yourself what the people around you need, what you can give them, and watch how that perspective shift reveals what you've been searching for all along. Our journey in the land of confusion isn't over yet, mine or yours. Hit the like, subscribe, and join me for whatever comes next, because this isn't the end. It's the beginning of something new for all of us. Thanks for watching.